Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, my dear beautiful girls of grade 6? Today, inshallah, we are going to start a new lesson, which is lesson 3. It is about the features of the era. And when I say the features of the era, I mean all the features that remark the era of the Abbasid Caliphate, which continued for about over or more than 500 years. Bismillah. First of all, we are going to talk about the ruling system, the system of the government. As you know, the Abbasid Caliphate is like the Umayyad Caliphate was a dynasty. It means that the rule of the Caliph was mostly passed down from father to son in the same family. It means that leadership passes on from father to son. They are not elected by voting or something like that. Only the rule passed down from father to son in the same family. They formed something that is called the dawawin. Now it is similar to the ministries. We have now Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Financial Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The dawawin at the time of the Abbasid is like or similar to the ministries nowadays. Under the Umayyad rule, some dawawin were created to control certain areas of the government. The Abbasid created more dawawin. Like what? All the dawawin of the government came under the control of the wazir or the minister or the vizier. Of course, who was appointed by the caliph. So the caliph appoints a wazir or a minister to help him. This minister or this wazir or this vizier is the leader of all the dawawin as the prime minister now. There were several important dawawins like Baytul Mal, which was the treasury. This diwan controlled the money in the caliphate. It collected taxes and paid salaries to the government officials. As the Ministry of Finance now. Diwan al-Khatam was responsible for sealing the caliph's decrees. If there is a decision or something that the caliph wants to tell the people, this is written down and it must be sealed by Diwan al-Khatim. Diwan al-Jaish was responsible for the army and everything related to the army. Diwan al-Jaish is now like the Ministry of Defense today. Diwan al-Barid controlled the post office. Diwan ad-Dar was responsible for smaller dawawin in the provinces of the caliphate. So these dawawin are similar to the ministers that we have now. But now, of course, we have more dawawins or we have more ministers than it was in the past. The new post of Al-Wazara, minister, was also created in the Abbasid state. Oh my God. So there was something that called Al-Wazara. The minister or Al-Wazara was the most important advisor to the caliph. This is the minister or the wazir. He helped the caliph to run the state. He was like the assistant of the caliph or the right hand of the caliph. That is the wazir or the minister. They called him wazir or vizier. Some ministers held a mandate from the caliph to rule over the state in all matters. The other ministers had to implement all orders from the caliph. So some of them can do everything in the state and the others should take order from the caliph. This is the new post of Al-Wazara or the minister that was also created in the Abbasid state. It was not there in the Umayyad Caliphate or the Umayyad state. Al-Hisba. Al-Hisba is the office of that was created to ensure that economic activities were conducted fairly and to apply the Islamic principle of advising people about what is good and forbidding what is bad. For example, Al-Hisba or Diwan al-Hisba is to control all the actions in the markets, to make sure that there is no cheating, to make sure that the people are applying the Islamic principles in their dealing with each other. For example, Al-Muhtasib was the one who is very responsible for Diwan al-Hisba. So the Muhtasib works in Al-Hisba Diwan. During the early years of the Islamic State, Al-Muhtasib, the job was to make sure that traders at the markets were not cheating people. He used to keep an eye on them, watch them. Later, Al-Muhtasib became responsible for supervising the markets and the mosques. So at first it was for the markets, later it became also the mosques. And for making sure that they were clean and running correctly. They also monitored the work of the judges and tested people to make sure that they were capable of doing their jobs properly. So they Al-Muhtasib was responsible for making sure that everything is running properly in the state. Also, Al-Muhtasib could punish people in high-ranking positions who did not behave in a moral way. If there is someone who is not doing his job in a moral way, Al-Muhtasib could at that time could punish him. The other Diwan is postal system. The postmasters had to report regularly to the central government what was going on in the regions. They might report on the crop harvest. This is one information that should be reported by the postal system, and also on people who were seen to be rebelling against the rule of the caliphate. They do not want, or the Abbasids in here, they did not want the rebellion to be repeated again. They did not want people to revolt against them exactly as they did towards the Umayyads. You remember the cool movement, the secret movement of Ad-Dawah that was there in Khorasan and started to gain more support and power until they could end the caliphate of the Umayyads. They did not want that to be repeated with them, and that's why the postal system or the postmasters job was to keep an eye on those who could rebel against the caliphate of the Abbasids and must watch them carefully. If he find or see anyone like that doing something like that, you must report to the caliph. So these are the most important features of the era. Actually, I skipped the police system and also the judging system and the banking system because they are not so related to our life today. Or in other words, I wanted to make the lesson easier, and I want you to focus on certain points. These are the points that I presented in the worksheet of today. Inshallah, during the VCR class, we are going to explain more and I will help you more and more. Thanks for being with me, and goodbye till meet again, my beautiful girls.